Right, good morning, everybody. And it's a great pleasure for me always to be able to address an audience that is so esteemed. I represent the CRM team. Our gambit and the area that we play in is innovation in the customer experience area. I think today what I want to talk about a little bit, and the subject of my conversation, is revolutionizing sales, marketing, and customer experience using AI, right? And so I trust in introducing this topic that I'm amongst fellow ChatGPT users, aren't I? Yes. Right? Yes. Right, thank you. May I do one of those awfully uncomfortable questions, and please raise your hand if you have not used a generative AI technology. Great. I'm with esteemed friends and colleagues over here. And with that backdrop, I want to start talking about a couple of things. And the first thing I want to have a look at is where is AI being used today? And some of you may recognize this person over here. I'm not going to tell you who they are. Great. I've got one person that recognizes them. But on the 4th of April this year, a song was released called Heart on a Sleeve. And it sounded exactly like this musician. In fact, not just his voice, but just the whole tune and the way it was structured sounded like him. And it also sounded like another musician called The Weeknd. Right, so who is the person that wrote this song? And the clue's up on the screen here, maybe. Who's the man in the picture? Drake! Exactly. Did Drake write the song? Although it sounded like him. No, he didn't. Interestingly enough, somebody called Ghostwriter 997, right, wrote the song. In fact, Ghostwriter 997 didn't write the song either, to be quite honest. A machine wrote the song. So this song was generated by an AI machine. It was published out on the internet, and within a very, very short period of time, the likes of Universal Music and Spotify were up in arms. Why? Well, musicians make their revenue from what they call royalties. So every time a song is purchased or an album is purchased, the music company, the record label, or the musician receives a royalty, a certain amount of money for having produced that song. Do you think Drake was going to make any money out of this AI-generated song, which sounded exactly like him? Probably not. In fact, I can guarantee not. But what is the other problem here? Okay, what about the issue of IP? Who's in the business of IP management here? Who of you generate software? Who of you sell products? Who of you sell services which come from people? You pay a huge amount of money, and then, of course, that becomes your business model. Well, his business model was generating, selling music in his own style that sounds like him, and now you're certainly not going to make money out of it. And so I was so happy to hear in the panel discussion a little bit earlier this word conundrum come up, because conundrum is very much associated with artificial intelligence. There's two sides to this whole thing. Okay, so great, fantastic, brand new song, sounded like Drake, and we're all happy and probably could have downloaded it and gone ahead and listened to the song millions and millions of times in our lives, or over and over every day. But this person, Mustafa Sulaiman, who knows who DeepMind is? Right, can somebody help me out? Who are DeepMind? What do DeepMind do? Right, exactly. And it came out of the Google stable. And this man, Mustafa Sulaiman, was one of the founders. What did he have to say about AI? AI will create a serious number of losers. Now, isn't this a little bit counterintuitive? When I started off, I was saying, well, I'm going to talk to you about sales, marketing, and customer service and how we are going to revolutionize it using AI. And this luminary in the world is saying there's going to be a whole lot of losers. So I'm stuck in a conundrum as I'm talking to you today, because what he has gone ahead and said, and another report corroborates this, and by Goldman Sachs, a very, very highly esteemed organization, is that 300 million jobs will be impacted by artificial intelligence. When they spoke about being impacted, disrupting technology, but could it be a risk to society? Why? People may lose their jobs to machines which are doing their jobs on their behalf. Wow. Okay. I'm nervous. I've been in sales my entire life, and now I'm being told that a machine is going to take over from me. What on earth am I going to do? But there's some more around this. Our very own Elon Musk, what has he done? Okay. Name me one company that Elon Musk owns. In fact, name me two. Oh, X, right. Yeah, that one that's wrecking my Twitter experience. Name me another one. SpaceX, thank you. And what's the other one? The other big one that he's involved in? All right, Tesla. What's so cool about Tesla cars? They're electric, and what else if you don't feel like driving on a particular day in your life? They're autonomous. They kind of drive themselves, we think, right? How does that car figure out when to turn, when to apply the brakes, etc., etc.? Artificial intelligence, right? Okay, but anyway, what did Elon Musk have to do and to say? Well, he banded up a group of friends, some of them very, very highly respected academics, some of them founders of Apple, some of them founders of Pinterest, and some of them even founders of Skype. And what do these guys do? They work with the Future Institute and write an open letter requesting a 6-month moratorium on the development of AI. Why? This thing is developing so fast, legislation cannot keep track, and neither can the people that are consuming it. So AI, once again, this conundrum comes in. It's all helping us, and we're driving ahead at a massive, fast pace that some of us can't even keep track with. But by the same time, he's building it into his cars, and he's asking for a moratorium on it, right? So what is going on here? Some people are saying stop, other people are saying go. Where do we go with this whole thing? And so there's a whole lot of stuff happening in the space. But also coming out of this Goldman Sachs report, they stated that world GDP's, gross domestic product, the sum of all goods and services developed by a country over the next 10 years will grow by 7% purely because of artificial intelligence. So here we go again. Oh my goodness, Drake is losing a whole lot of money. People's jobs are going to go missing, but gross domestic product is going to grow by at least 7%. And so we're stuck in a bit of a conundrum, which brings us to a point where, and I'm very glad to see somebody laughing at this, we feel a bit like Alice in Wonderland. We're sitting looking at the rabbit hole and wondering whether we should leap and go down the rabbit hole. Your options are this. You can take the blue pill, and the blue pill you return back to your normal life, and everything is as it appears or as you think it may be, and you continue with your mundane life and everything is very normal. Or you can take the red pill and see how far the rabbit hole takes you. And this is where we sit with AI today. A lot of fear, although a lot of excitement about AI as well. The decision rests with you. And I would argue that we've made that decision already. And you'll see I'll come back to this in a little while. So anyway, let's contextualize add a little bit to the industry we're talking about today. So in the 50s, relationship bankers were probably at the pinnacle of sales excellence, if I can put it that way. Now, I've been in sales my entire life. I've studied it. I've taught people how to do it. I've consulted in it. I've done the job myself. And I can tell you that there are a couple of fundamentals in this industry which relate to customer experience which never, ever, ever change. And the reason why I related to relationship bankers is they were very, very good at doing this. In the 1950s, technology was in its infancy. They didn't have a whole lot to support them other than perhaps a notebook and a pen and a pencil. But they used to build very, very deep relationships with their customers. So they didn't even understand their customers' business to an infinite level. They understood their personal lives to an infinite level. When there was a barbecue in America at their houses, your relationship banker went to the barbecue. When your kid was graduating, hell, your banker was there too. And in fact, when you went on holiday, surprise, surprise, the guy staying in the house next to you, well, that was your relationship banker too. These people didn't only understand your financial interests, they understood you in totality as a human being. Ask Xerox, they did the same thing. One of the finest selling organizations in the world started to implement sales methodology and tried to work out what made relationship bankers so strong in selling to people. Massive, massive financial solutions that they sold. And so somewhere along the line, as technology came in, some of this art and this ability got lost along the way. People became very reliant on technology and the human element started to fail. So it sounds kind of strange. I'm talking about, well, let's get innovative and let's use AI and customer service. And now I'm telling you that, well, technology is kind of wiping out everything salespeople did. But have a look at this. 24% of consumers in a recent study by NIIT said that their relationship banker didn't understand them. Ooh, that's kind of tough. Okay? But 90% of large banks regarded customer service as a key priority. Heavens above, another conundrum, right? We say we're going down the street and we say we're going to be good at it, but the consumers have a different idea on this whole topic. So the fundamentals that I was talking about are some sales fundamentals that I want to touch on and relate to customer experience, because ultimately the reason why we service our customers is so that they will do what? Right, buy more. Happy customers buy more. And so I aim to service them as well. Yes, we've sold them something, and we do need to keep them happy in what we've done and honor all our promises. But ultimately, what are we asking? Please come back and buy something more from me. Cross-sell and upsell. Right? And you'll see these concepts coming together as we talk about AI and how does AI weave these things together for us. Okay, so there's this little calculation over here. Now, salespeople are not particularly strong at mathematics. Ask me, I know all about that, right? Okay. But some of you that probably are a whole lot stronger in mathematics would know that you have numerators and denominators, and like the numerator above the line, if all of that stuff goes up, the thing on the left-hand side of the equal sign will also go up. And then your denominators, if that all goes down, exponentially everything across the other side of the equal sign goes up, right? So we have these little equations in sales that we're trying to work at. Velocity refers to how quickly you move through a sales cycle. So the faster you can cycle through a sales cycle means the more sales cycles you can complete in any given period of time, right? Okay, that kind of makes sense. Don't even have to apply the numbers to it, that just works. But what are the things that play a role here? So across the top there, the number of opportunities or the number of the deals that you have times the value, the size of the deal, times your closure percentage or ratio divided by the time it takes drives up your velocity. So if you can do that quicker and quicker and quicker and faster, or influence those variables to be able to drive your deal faster, you can make more money, right? Is that making sense? That's kind of mathematics, and I'm not even mathematical, right? So where is artificial intelligence playing a role here? Artificial intelligence is playing a role in decreasing the length of your sales cycle. Okay, how does it do that? What matters around that? Well, in sales, another key fundamental is if you talk to a person at the right place, at the right time, and the right person that you're speaking to with the right message, you're guaranteed to move your sales cycle faster. Why? Because you're identifying them at a decision point. You understand what their needs and requirements are, and you're addressing them with the correct messages. Where does that all come from? That comes from interrogating data and bringing data together and making logical decisions. So AI today, where is it playing a role in sales? Well, you'll probably find all of your organizations actually have that data today. It's scattered around there somewhere, but you need something to pull it together and to say to you, this is what you should do. This is the next best purchase option. Okay, so I'm going to show you right at the end a little bit of a video which explains this and helps us to understand that and how it works. But there's another big equation. And once again, thank you very much to the panel here who kept talking about this issue of trust. Trust is not just a technology thing. People buy from people that they trust. Okay, and once again here I'm going with my mathematics, a non-mathematician trying to explain mathematics. Would you believe it? What happens here is people buy from other people who they believe have their best interests at heart. Okay, self-orientation. What is self-orientation? Your denominator here. Remember, if that goes down, exponentially everything on the left goes up, so trust will go up. Forget about yourself. Self-orientation is how much I think about me. Get rid of that notion. Understand your customer to an infinite level of detail, where they are at a point in time, address them with the right information at the right place, at the right time, and you've got them ready to make a decision, a purchase decision. What is that called? That's called empathy, walking in your customer's shoes. So what does AI do? Well, it brings all this information together. It helps you to understand your customer, where they are at a point in time, and then it says to you, offer them the following things in order to buy. And this is where it is revolutionizing what is happening in the sales environment today. Simple sales mathematics, but it still applies. It applied back when Xerox and the relationship bankers in finance were selling. It applies today as well, but it's supported by great technology. And so a final piece of information here. I'm sure we all know who McKinsey and Co. are. They've worked very closely with our government, and I do believe they're on the track of returning to righteousness after their escapades, perhaps in SARS and so forth. But they've gone out and stated that deploying machine learning tools to predict customer needs, guide outreach, can increase your sales pitch response rates by 20%. The adoption of AI and understanding your customers. And so, very quickly, I wanted to speak about a seminar I presented. Well, it was more of a workshop delivered by Financial Times in Europe, and it was titled AI in Marketing, Revolutionary or Dangerous? So I'm talking about revolutionizing sales, marketing, and customer service. And they're asking the question, is it dangerous? I'm trying to sell something, and they're saying it could be dangerous. But what were they talking about? So firstly, there are some really interesting people here. Havas is a global marketing organization. Pendragon is a huge UK parts retailer. Chief customer officer was involved in this conversation. Accenture, you probably all know, their global intelligence lead involved. And very interestingly, somebody from the Marketing AI Institute involved. And so these guys had a raging debate about what is the role of AI in marketing. And if I distilled through everything, and at some points in this conversation, it was getting, you could feel there's a bit of tension between some of the people. They had some differences in opinion, and this guy's kind of in technology, and this person saying, well, no, my marketing people stand to lose their jobs, and there was a whole lot of roundabout. At the end of the day, what they all settled on is they said marketing fundamentally has one thing at its core. What do you think that may be? Let me see, somebody shout out. What do you think is at the core of marketing? Anybody, who's a marketer here? What drives all marketing? When you think of a marketing person, what do you think of? Thank you. That's what the person that shouted out. Thank you so much. Marketing is driven by creativity. So they got down to this point where all of them agreed marketing is driven by creativity. You cannot deliver creative marketing campaigns or marketing campaigns without this element of creativity. But what is the biggest challenge to creativity? And this is where they started to unpack this thing about where does AI play a role. So they were unanimous that creativity requires creative spaces. Think about this. Any of you that have been fortunate enough, or your job entails having to go out and to project and plan for your business going forward into next year. What do executives typically do? Do they sit in the boardroom and do it? Not a chance. Off to a golf estate over the weekend, play golf, clear the mind, forget about the office, don't think about the financial statements, get focused on where we're going to take this business. Why? You need to create a space in which to be creative. And so these people all agreed on that fact that creativity drives marketing, and it's driven by creative spaces. And so where does AI play a role in this? So AI is aimed at taking over mundane and repetitive tasks so that people can expand themselves and create a space where they can innovate and be creative. That is where growth comes from. That is where new ideas come from. So AI, as much as we looked at going down the rabbit hole and we looked at job losses and so forth, it's a shift in the way we think about technology. People can apply it to doing those mundane things which became very tedious and you do over and over and repetitive again in order to set you free, if you think about it from that perspective. And I'm going to show you how we do that in a sales environment towards the end of my presentation. But therein lies the crux of where AI is today for each and every one of us. It's about removing the obstacle of doing mundane things over and over again and making decisions which take us ages upon ages to research. So here's a good example, not using AI. Does anybody know where that office is? Which company's office is that? One guess. I'm going to tell you anyway. Who said it? Yeah, that's Google's offices. Why do they have a creative space? Why do they have a weird-looking office that looks like it's got grass on the roof? To get people into that space where they think differently, where they come up with creative, innovative solutions. Put them in that space. Well, now I'm challenging you to use technology and put yourselves in that space in your job in the day. So going back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, is this all new to us? Is this scary? Are we going to lose our jobs about it? I argue not. We've been through this not once, not twice, not 3 times, and possibly not even 4 times, but we're probably doing this for the 5th time in the evolution of the human race. We came through the mechanization age, the production line, Henry Ford went crazy over there, all sorts of changes we've been through, and you know what the human species has triumphed at the end of all of this? The jobs weren't lost. People rethought about what they're doing. We came out better and stronger. We're on the same path with AI. It's nothing to be scared of. We're going in the right direction. Take the red pill. Be exciting. Step out there. And so I'm going to finish off with one very quick video. I was merely given 20 minutes, and I am on the cusp at the moment. And so I'm going to show one video about how AI can be applied in sales. And as I mentioned to you, my background has been in sales my whole life. Where has it made a huge difference for me? And this is what you'll see in the video. Is typically, and I refer back to those relationship salespeople, the financial sales guys back in the 1950s, who knew their customer to an infinite level of detail and knew everything that they not even needed to know, but everything there was to know about their customers. They used tools to speed up the way that they could understand their customer. Their tools in those days were attend a braai. You can talk to the whole family, and they'll even tell you, oh, you know, my husband, and he's dropping his laundry on the floor, and whatnot's in the bedroom, and that, and this is a bone of contention in our marriage, and so forth. You learned all of those things by engaging with people. Well, nowadays, you do it by interrogating an entire social ecosystem out on the internet and pulling that data together. So that has helped me already. I use LinkedIn to kind of look at who my potential customers may be, or who is that person I'm having a meeting with, what are their interests, what have they done, who are they, how do they think, what are their priorities, and I can easily find these things before I go forward. I get a system to interrogate the meetings I've had because they've been recorded, to come back to me and say the common themes in all of these discussions are return on investment of an IT investment that you intended making. And, by the way, these people are extremely risk averse. And 3 months back in a meeting, they mentioned that the budget was X million rands. And I have a machine pull this all to me and brought to me before I even go into a meeting. I also can interrogate the sentiment of those meetings. So because the meeting was recorded, the system goes and looks through all the conversation, which is now transcribed into words, and says the word unhappy was used 4 times in the last 6 meetings. And it was used in the following context. You talk too much. You don't listen. You just want to sell, blah, blah, blah. Tone down, buddy. Okay. And a machine is doing this for me. It's coaching me how to do better. And so it's made a massive difference in my life, and I'm going to play out with this one little video how you could potentially see sales evolving in your business.
Microsoft Viva Sales revolutionizes the seller experience. Kelly is a busy seller who gets help from Copilot in Viva Sales, which is available to Dynamics 365 sales customers and as a standalone offering to connect with Salesforce CRM. Copilot helps her to craft a response. Viva Sales automatically generates a suggested reply enriched with the content from the CRM data. You can see there is a mention of the product, the number of units, and the price point, all seamlessly taken from the opportunity data and combined with the email context. With the content complete, she can simply copy the message to her email, make any minor adjustments to suit her style, and send. Not only is this far more effective than crafting a message from scratch, but Viva Sales can instantly store and update the insight back into CRM. As we take a look at Daisy, she uses the power of AI to help run world-class customer calls and meetings by taking notes so she can focus on the customer in her calls. Sales Conversation Intelligence in Microsoft Teams captures the key meeting highlights, questions asked, and even follow-ups. Now Daisy can take this data and create a simple follow-up summary across to her customer to build trust on next steps. Using Copilot, she no longer has to create her own follow-up based upon the notes. GPT generates a customer-ready meeting summary in a single click. The response embeds CRM data and previous meeting context for review and validation. This is something Daisy will see across all of the Copilot sales experiences. She can also see the linked meeting to confirm she has the correct context. Now our sellers can go do what they do best and close deals faster.
There you go, and as sellers, that is all we really want to do. Close deals faster and be better. So with that, I want to say thank you very much for your attention and wish you well on your AI journeys. I trust that we're all engaged in that pursuit and driving forward. from our perspective, it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to be very, very excited about. And I'm going to finish off with somebody else's words, and I do forgive me which speaker it was, who said, it's a great time to be alive. It is indeed. It's very exciting. We're on the cusp of a wave, and I think we're on a journey that is going to be very exciting over the next couple of years. Thank you very much for your attention.